Next is addition to the agenda. I have two. One is National Historic Landmark status for the Stewart's House in Cornwall Village. Second is litigation, possible executive session, River Road parking.
I'll second both presentations.
Any other additions? All those in favor? Aye. Let's see, communications, had a couple. One was, I think I've sent this around, there's a conversation in sustainability at in New Preston by the Weeatnog Heritage Land Trust. So that is happening. So that, and then there's going to be the presentation of the Northwest Regional Workforce Investment Board will be attending Northwest Hills Council of Governments meeting December 10th.
What was that?
This is something I'll be going. I mean, it's just, these are just things that come in. This is a organization that looks at employment opportunities in Litchfield County, and they'll just be at our Council of Governments meeting in December.
They're doing their meeting in November by teleconference.
Are they?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of cool. They had a really short agenda, but it was kind of neat.
Okay, they normally don't.
I know they don't, so I was surprised. But
Maybe they have some routine things they have to do. Let's see, Steve Silver from Eversource came in with this little wooden plaque, an upgrade from our usual paper plaque. This is the Clean Energy Communities Program hereby presents this award achievement at the bronze level to the town of Cornwall, Connecticut, in recognition of the community's leadership, environmental stewardship, and commitment to clean and efficient energy use in Connecticut. Even greater interest was a book which is available for people to look at in the town office that goes through each town, and it says which towns have done what. We're one of the few towns that have been awarded two $5,000 grants. A lot of neighboring towns have been awarded just one grant. So that's available if anybody wants to look at it and highlight some of the things the town of Cornwall has done.
What do you have to do to get a silver or gold?
I don't know. A lot, I guess. So I didn't see any silver in there. But, let's see what else. The sidewalks has started this week down in West Cornwall. So we hopefully have some good weather, get it done quickly. And my last communication was from Paul Prindle, building inspector, that the cell tower on Popple Swamp Road is up, and I went out today and you can actually see it from Valley Road. So it's above the tree line. There it is. I'm not sure when it will be actually operational, but it will. It is up. There it is.
Must have put the on the top.
Yeah. Doesn't break the ridge line, but it definitely breaks the tree line. First, so any other communication? So, a lot of things going on. Public comments? Any public comments? Okay. Election day, good turnout, I understand.
182.
Let's see. First thing on the agenda is town office windows. We have been talking about the bids we've received, and was a recommendation of the contractor and the building official to go with the vinyl windows, get a better R rating, guarantee, and matches what's already there, and would be $5,000 less than the next ones up, which would be wood veneer window.
The original motion that I made the last meeting I was at, which was 2 meetings ago, was for the wood veneered one, which I thought was in fact the one that matched the existing stuff in the addition. I was incorrect. And in that motion, having been corrected by the contractor, that the motion I made was for the wrong set of windows. So I am of the belief that the motion I was making was for matching the windows with the addition, which is what I'd be willing to make a new motion if we
Okay.
change the motion I had made. So I make a motion that we accept the bid from Tom Wolf for the vinyl windows, with the vinyl windows installed.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion?
Well, we had talked at that meeting about what his price would be for painting the inside, so we knew at that time that it was gonna be wood on the inside, not vinyl, like what's in the lunchroom edition now. So
Well, I
we
still
knew
make
that
mistakes,
going in.
right?
That's fine, so I know you guys were in the office, so did you get my email on the discrepancy in price?
No.
So if you take his quote and you do his labor and his materials for the vinyl.
Yeah.
And his $875 for miscellaneous, it comes out to $91.83. But if you go on to the next page, he has his total of $97.05, so I asked where the $522 difference came from.
Okay, what was that? What was your total if you total all those things up?
$91.83.
91. All right. So it's 91.83. Okay.
So I just don't know, as you flip the page, is there something else going on here that I'm not seeing that adds up to another $522?
I know he did, there was a bunch of different things going on here, so I will clarify that. It also says including the bath and accessor windows.
The assessor window, yeah, but that's what he talks about here in his
Right.
labor. He talks about the bathroom and the assessor window too, so it's already here. So, I'm just not sure where the extra, let's see. Yeah, it's part of his scope of work to do the assessor window, the bathroom window, and the steel door in the back room.
Okay, so Richard, that is your motion for up to 97.03?
It should be up to $91.83 according to these prices.
But it's, I think we can have an explanation, but his price is still quite a bit less than the other bidders.
Right, but it doesn't add up, so. Just wondering where the extra money's going.
Well, maybe he left something out, but it's not, he didn't write it on the bid with the total
And then you
included.
can't accept the bid if something's left out.
In the end, though, it's the bottom line is what the bid is, whether he gets there that way or not. Is it still the bottom line?
No, because his bottom line doesn't match the numbers that he's given us. He gave us numbers that add up to 91.83, but his bottom line is 97.0503. I guess it's a 3 maybe.
So I'll ask that in a different way. what he's saying. And it's the figure, the $9,700 figure approximately, 9,703 or whatever it is. That includes the windows, or is it plus the windows?
The windows were already included
Right.
according to the scope of work, the other two windows.
So everything is, $9,700 figure includes, is the whole job.
Well, the 9183 should include the whole job.
What I'm saying is he's just broken out different components. If he had no figures except one number at the end, that would be okay too.
No, not really.
Well, in his scope of work, on the front page, it looks like he's prepping the space or removing the old windows out of the assessor's office, and perhaps including the bath and accessory windows are included in the price of the materials.
That's already here. He's gonna remove the AC unit in the assessor's office and install an operating casement sash. Install a small sash in the bathroom and secure it.
It says sash, it doesn't say the actual windows.
Because it doesn't open, it's just that's a stationary window, right? Is that not open?
The bathroom?
Yeah, it does open. Okay.
Yeah, so it may just be the extra windows, 2 extra windows. I would just like to see the,
Well, it may include extra windows, but that's not what he's talking about installing, so he can come back and say, no, I talked about a sash, not a window.
but on the third page it says including,
Bathroom and accessory windows.
Windows.
I mean, a sash is a window, it's the movable part.
As I said again, if he didn't include any figures anywhere, it just has a bottom line number. Where it's still, how much cheaper than the other bid? $10,000?
That's not,
Well, at some level, it is the point though.
really. And even if you take his labor and you add in the other windows that we didn't want to have, and his miscellaneous materials, it still doesn't come out to the 14,129 that he has over here either. So, I don't understand.
I think we did accept a higher $14,000 bid.
For better windows.
Actually, salesman said they were equivalent. But anyway, we did accept his general proposal a month ago, and I would just like us to get the windows installed before, this weather we're having, that are waiting for another 2 weeks. I think this is a fair price. I can report next meeting, or I can give you an email of how we total up the spend. I can go over that with them, but I just don't want to wait another 2 weeks to get where we should be going.
If there could be an amendment to the motion that the maximum price for the bid is $91.83 according to the labor, materials, and miscellaneous materials listed on this page 2, I would be open to that. And then if there's going to be additional monies for something that he did not list in this page 3, then we can readdress it next time.
Except his bottom line is 9703. We can talk about this all night, but it'd be good to get the program
But
going.
we accept a bid up to 9,700, and if for some reason it's 9,100, because there is no explanation, or we get an explanation, then we already have the monies determined and in place, and the project can move forward.
We could do it the other way, 9,200 max, and then if there is an explanation of why he needs the extra $500, we can add that in.
I go back to what I said.
Just adding the numbers together.
I know, but
a whole different discussion. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with what I'm asking right now.
Okay, Richard has the motion on the floor.
And what is the motion that I have on the floor?
To accept the bid from Tom and Look with the vinyl windows installed.
For,
Up to $9,700
Up to $9,700.
with an explanation as to this addition forthcoming.
okay, I second that. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I abstain for lack of information.
Okay. So noted. Next is economic development. I met with Janet Carlson, who's here tonight, and Mike Goldman from Goldman, New York, to plot out some projects for the coming season. High on the list was a study of the West Cornwall septic issue. Janet, do you want to come up? Join the happy chorus?
I would just love to.
I'll just go through a few of my
Is this
notes.
okay here, or should I sit
Yeah,
there?
maybe.
Is it
Yeah,
tidy?
more photogenic. Some of the, some of the things that we went over were that Mike felt that his firm could go a long way towards doing the preliminary engineering on studying these septic requirements of West Cornwall for their existing contract, which would expedite that effort greatly because we wouldn't have to go through the whole state process. Certainly we would be in touch with the state, but he is willing to come out next December 9th and start walking through that program. And I talked to Kathy Weber at the Torrey Area Health District, and she is partway through her map of West Cornwall, and she thinks she can get it done by the 1st of December. So that would give Mike's team information about the current status of systems that are in place in West Cornwall before the meeting of the 9th. So I think that will be certainly worth pursuing because it will get things going sooner, and we don't have to then go back to the town for extra money to fund a study. So at least we can get going on that.
So Kathy is studying the existing?
Yes, Kathy is mapping out on an assessor's map all the information that she has as far as what systems are there, whether they're new systems, new adequate systems, whether they are systems that she doesn't have any information about, or something that she knows are systems with some restrictions on them. So she should get that information to Goldman people.
And then where are they gonna take it to? What's their next step? Study?
He said they could do some preliminary study of the whole, systems, come up with some alternatives, what makes sense. So we'll learn more about this on the 9th of December, and he suggested that we try to get a working group set up to tackle the issue by the 9th of December, so maybe we can put that on our agenda or framework for our next meeting. Think of appointing a couple of people to represent the community about it. So that's one.
Certainly some of the things that we would want from them are what they would hope to have for information, so they can move forward and what is Goldman New York looking for information. Certainly stuff coming from Kathy Weber will be important, but any other things that can be assembled for them, and maybe that's what they're going to ask us for on the 9th.
Right.
That'll probably be part of what we could maybe anticipate some of those things and attempt to
Well, I can follow with Mike. You know, I don't think that there was anything specifically that he needed. I think he's got some people on his team who actually do this as part of their regular job. Because it's obviously it's an issue all over Connecticut. So he's had people who've actually gone into towns and actually set these systems. So he's kind of got a template in it, if I'm remembering
Right, I
correctly.
mean, you look at the amount of you know, the amount of people there, it's probably there are less people that are in West Cornwall right now that are in a, you know, decent sized subdivision, so it's
Well,
not.
that's what he said, so I think that's what they've been doing, they've been specializing in doing subdivisions, and then each one has its little microcosm of a septic,
Right.
so.
Or a college campus
Or a
or
college
whatever.
campus,
I mean, when
exactly.
you got 2,000 residents, that's a big deal.
We've talked about hospitals, they've done hospitals,
Right.
college campuses, subdivisions, that kind of thing already. So it's even, I mean, it's even simpler, according to him, it's like you don't have to worry about hospital things, where you've got thousands and
I
thousands.
understand,
I think
I'm
it's a
just saying that some of the things that they're gonna end up presumably looking at are soil, what are the soil samples, what are elevations, these are some of the things that they'll gather from somewhere.
Yeah, I can certainly send an email to Mike and just say, is there anything that we can do in preparation of the night
Right.
in order to have materials ready for you, or send over beforehand?
Any information that already
Right,
exists.
so this would be a special meeting, not a regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, but really be able to focus on this that evening.
And are they gonna study the feasibility of putting water in instead at this point?
I think they were looking at both water in and water out, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was really just, they're gonna take a look at it holistically, what was needed, and then be able to make recommendations. And if you can do, you know, one or the other, you know, get a reasonable level, I think they would do that, but ideally, you know, if you could do both, it would be pretty awesome.
So the other thing he offered up, because part of this too is looking at West Cornwall, and right now it's a little quiet, but if a system's designed, it needs to have some room for expansion, or hopefully more, a more vibrant area to come. So the other thing he's looking at is having a town economic planning session over several days in February. Probably a couple of weekday nights, even a weekend day, 2 or 3 days to dig down into Cornwall's economy, West Cornwall and Cornwall Bridge in particular, the village centers, and work this over fairly short sessions. The town did have something like this about 15 years ago, which was sort of a marathon session over the weekend. This would be a couple nights and a weekend day, a couple hours per session, so that it wouldn't be, it would enable people to come to different things if they weren't here. And again, this would be covered by his contract, so it would also focus on what businesses might be appropriate for West Cornwall and how would that affect the whole septic thing. So that's another piece of the puzzle that they're willing to take on in the next couple of months. So it sounds good, you know, I mean, especially the price.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that he would be able to.
It's like, we could
It
do
was
this
just like a bonus
in-house.
extra.
We should have a tape recorder going,
Oh, I
because
took
this is
notes.
thousands of,
Yeah,
dollars.
really good notes. I know where.
Very good notes. Good, so that was 2 big things. Then I sent around the rough draft. Janet and a group are working with West Cornwall Library on revitalizing that building, and I've talked to the people at the state, and they said our grant could still be open to put the septic into the West Cornwall Library. And I've talked to CLMP, and that's, you know, complicated because DEP has right of first refusal on any permanent land deals, so that complicates things a little bit. But what I'd like to do is do a time frame, re-enter negotiations with CLMP and see if we can't get this septic easement for the West Cornwall Library, with the thought of that becoming a revitalized building. And Janet, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah,
What the
one of the,
community's doing now.
we've been going through a lot. I mean, the library board was comprised of a lot of the older members of our community, and a lot of them really wanted to move on to other things. So the board has turned over, which is, I think in this case, has been a good thing. The plan now is to pursue finishing the nonprofit status. I've actually gone to the pro bono lawyers, which I've worked with before. You can actually get free legal help. So, I've got experience with these guys, and we've already filed the paperwork to work with them. And because I have experience with them, I can kind of go to the front of the queue and, hopefully get some help there, but it'll be free legal help to finish up that. And plus, even after it's established as a nonprofit, you can go back to them. So if there's anything that we need legal help-wise, we can go back to them, we get free assistance. So that's certainly advantageous for that. The plan right now is to keep it a partial library and also have it be a shared workspace so that we would have free Wi-Fi. It would be available free. So if small business people wanted to go down and be in a collaborative situation where they could work with other entrepreneurs, maybe a writer, an artist, and that kind of thing can sit together, collaborate on a book, all kinds of interesting things can happen. But, that's actually in the works right now.
Talked to Libby Mitchell over the weekend too, and they said there may be a way to redesign the original scheme there to make it so that part of this project would have a accessible outdoor toilet, or accessible to the public toilet as part of the library. Here's the map of the lay of the land. You can see the library barely owns the land it sits on. We could spend an hour talking about that history, but right now the plan is HVA has a grant to redo this parking down here with a public toilet. If this was able to happen at the library, it would be much closer to the village center than down here in the parking lot. So that under this plan, if this all happens, the town would then control or maintain or be somewhat responsible for this 3-acre piece, not just the parking lot, but it would then get the easement for the septic up at the library also.
So that would become then more of a community space, because we would have the access to that lawn. You could have events on that lawn. You would have the public toilets on both sides to be able to access that. The building's just not used now, and we don't have community space. So it would be, it's kind of tough to get this room sometimes because it's booked with everything. So it offers more availability to the community.
And it has an endowment, I believe.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
it's like a fund.
It's pretty good size.
So are we saying HVA would still have their parking lot and bathroom facilities, and we would be adding more, or we would ask them to see if they could move their grant monies over here?
I think they still have to do a lot of their parking lot there, but it may be redundant to have 2 toilets because under their scheme they have enough money to redo the parking, but they don't have enough money to maintain it, so the town will be on the hook for maintaining the toilets, which by themselves would be a bit of an expense. If we can incorporate that into the well-endowed library scheme, that might be saves the town a little bit of maintenance money, and you'd have people there interacting with the building as opposed to having a lonely outhouse down by the parking lot, which might be
Well, I think if the library was closed, I think the plan is to have it accessible so that we can lock it from the inside and have it
Right.
accessible from the outside. So
Mhm.
I think Libby was planning on that.
right. So it's very exciting. I
Yes.
think it could make a difference down West Cornwall. It's a beautiful site. You can see the bridge from there, and it may bring more people into the little village. And
Well, especially if there's events going on there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's stuff happening in the evening, there's stuff happening on the weekend.
Now, both of these projects, though, it's the same parcel of land.
right.
It's both CLMP and DEP, I don't say control, but
They're involved.
they're involved, yes. And the dance between them, the 2 projects are on separate pieces of property so that they both could happen at some level with or without double sets of bathroom facilities. What I'm saying is the parking lot would not impact whatever event takes place at the library, which is good. That's what you want. You want to be able to fit them both into the parcel property.
Also, the revamp of the front to allow handicap access would create a nice opening to the outside. So we were actually talking about incorporating the handicap access to, like a French doors, where you can open it up and have, you know, flow inside, outside, have outside seating where you can work outside, because you have Wi-Fi, you can easily do that. And when there are people sitting around outside enjoying a cup of coffee and working, it attracts other people, which Libby found out when she and Jim were sitting outside. They had 12 different people walk by and ask what they were doing and what it was. So clearly, if you're sitting there looking like you're doing something, people get attracted to that. They want to be involved, exactly.
Great, I think it's very exciting. Anything else on economic development? We've got posters.
Props. Okay.
Props.
So, Explore Cornwall this is our branding for the campaign for Explore Cornwall. So the interesting thing is we ended up getting a decent amount of media coverage. And what's been kind of fun is the media coverage hasn't stopped. I actually got a call yesterday from a guy over in Litchfield who wants to do an on-camera interview and talk about why we're doing it, how we're doing it, what we're going to do in the future, and all that kind of stuff. So, and Explore Cornwall Facebook page and site are getting more hits than ever. So it's not, you know, I mean, we're still posting, so we're doing posts on a weekly basis. What we want to do is keep engaging people so that as they're looking to explore other places, that they have that opportunity. So one of the things we were talking about, and we're kind of looking futuristically, is doing more tweaks to this campaign. We'll keep the same branding, but one of the things we're looking at is consider Cornwall. So like the things can change is like the verbiage up here, but your branding stays consistent. So when someone sees it, they're like, okay, wait a minute, I've seen this before. So one of the things that we'll be looking to do is do outreach potentially to places like Brooklyn, because Brooklyn seems to be a very nice place to get people. They have families, they're very interested in education, they're interested in volunteering, a lot of times they have their own small business. So it's, certain neighborhoods in Brooklyn are very fertile with people who really don't have the kind of things they want to have in their family. So when we were thinking about a Consider Cornwall campaign, we were going to juxtapose the city versus Cornwall, and it was the kind of thing that our family went through. So if you have, and I'm sorry this is taping because if anybody steals this idea in any other Connecticut town, I'll be mad about it. So if you, and I'll know where it came from. So what you do is you juxtapose the housing. So here's what you get in Brooklyn, New York, and it is a hen house with peeling wallpaper, and it's $1 million. Here's what you get in Cornwall, Connecticut, and it's spectacular, it's $265,000. Here's what your school looks like in Brooklyn. It has chicken wire, and it's got no books, and it has no pens, and there's no posters. This is what you get in Cornwall, Connecticut, A+ school. You know, here's what it looks, here's your commute to work in Brooklyn. And it's shoving people in the subway, or it's, you know, looking at nature. So you can juxtapose things, you know, you can have this, you can have that, and people resonate with that, because when you look at the schools, and you walk through a school in Brooklyn, it is quite a different experience than walking through the school in Cornwall. And the kids say, hey, how are you doing? Nice to see you. The kids in Brooklyn are rocking, you know, or crowded into a very small classroom. So it's not a good situation. And every parent, this is going to resonate with them. And that's the kind of thing we're looking at. There's also potentially down the road a startup Cornwall. So we'll reach out to entrepreneurs. We've got connections to the entrepreneurial community in New York. There's 2,500 different entrepreneurs that are in the entrepreneurial organization. And if you get 5 of those guys to come up and take a look at Cornwall with a small business and a family, if you're in the entrepreneurs organization, you have to have at least $1 million business. So, you know, these are people who could make things happen and buy these homes easily. So, anyway, $1 million business doesn't go that far in New York, which sounds kind of crazy, but in Cornwall, you'd be king of the hill pretty much. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. It's besides this fly, it's really fun to think about. I think that's
Great.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
And I
much
like the fact you're going on Cable 5, because I think there's also a marked addition to Brooklyn, just of people in Litchfield County working here, but thinking of somewhere else.
Well, what he's going to do too is he's going to allow us to have those assets. So for the next 30 days, we're doing the interview here. I think it's at 11:30 on Tuesday. So we're going to do right at Town Hall, and he's going to give us the assets. So I'll be able to take that and then use that on Explore Cornwall. Be able to, you know, put that to other different venues also.
Great.
I think
Okay.
that's plenty on the EDC side.
Great. All right. Things are happening.
Things are happening.
Good.
That's good.
You're a busy winter.
Yes, indeed.
Good.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
Yep.
Let's see. Highway. Let's see. They're working through grading the roads. Also, the highway department has offered the fire department to undercoat their fire trucks. So, they'll do that second part of November, shouldn't be a big deal. We do, Jim said we do our trucks at least a couple times a season. And he could do the fire trucks also with the equipment that we have in place. It's basically a garden sprayer. We have the fluid film put on it, and hopefully it will solve some of our salt corrosion problems. So anyway, in-house solution. Hopefully that will help out and get people working together. Next we had
What are they doing down here on the hill?
what are they doing? They're just mowing, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, they're mowing back, trying to get back other than just 3 feet, trying to get back as far as they can, so they're going around town mowing. Yeah, they got 2 mowers going too.
and they have a timeline or a plan for the wish house parking,
Oh, asphalting things back in,
where the dip is there,
the dip, the little,
in front of the wish house where it's,
It drains into the basement of the wish house.
oh, there's a little.
The
is there a
drainage.
hole?
The road needs to be sloped away from the building. It's crowned, so everything comes into the wish house building.
Yeah,
but wasn't the storm drain was higher than?
They
the road
replaced
too?
that, though. They fixed
that.
was
That's
about
fine.
good.
right. We have to put some asphalt around there, so maybe put a little bit in front of your door there. Okay? Let's see. So that's the highway department. We did have a surprise visit from Con OSHA, who comes and sees us every 5 or 10 years. They did visit the town hall, town offices, highway garage, and the transfer station. The inspector will come back on Thursday, 10 o'clock. Generally, they write up deficiencies every time they visit in the past. We have things to work on. They give us things that we have to work on. Good night, Dan. I did have the risk control people come out from Kerma this afternoon and met with Jim, Vannicky, and Steve, using this opportunity as a teaching moment to bring us up to date with the training requirements that are required now for public employees. So Kerma's given us, they have some online resources. They've given us some sample policies that we'll talk through with the inspector, and then we'll implement basically whatever he says to do, we do. So
So the guys don't, like on a yearly basis, do any kind of OSHA training on anything or anything?
yeah, well,
Even a monthly basis on a particular topic?
we have done safety training for things like driver safety, chainsaw safety, that kind of thing. But apparently what they want to do now is even do things like examine your fire extinguishers on a monthly basis, your jacks on a biannual basis, and we had to reorganize the data sheets and things like that. So there is certainly more training requirements that we'll have to put in place, but it doesn't look particularly onerous. It will bring us up to date. So
So the state guys do it like once a month. I didn't know if that was something we could.
yeah, I think
On their bandwagon and
right.
sit in.
I think we'll be on the bandwagon. So
There was nothing in this visit that was,
We don't know.
they already gave.
I haven't actually received anything in writing yet. I mean, he wrote a lot of things down, but what he actually comes up with, violations, fines, just write up or whatever he's gonna want to see some changes. Some things,
So
there was
he's
things,
Thursday at 10 in your office, or?
he'll probably start there, work way around. We'll have to do probably fire extinguisher training with the town office employees. He said in some places.
Oh, he's just not gonna give you a report, he's actually gonna go around and.
He's probably gonna look at, explain different things
Oh,
to
yeah.
me and
Okay.
whoever else.
You're talking about the OSHA person?
The OSHA person. Yeah, the current person already came around and looked
So
at.
I thought the OSHA person came around and went to the garage,
Went to the town offices
went everywhere.
and the transfer station. They didn't go to the firehouses or the school.
Right, went to
They
the,
went to 4 different buildings.
and walked around, did whatever they were gonna do.
Took a bunch of notes.
But hasn't not given us a report yet.
Correct.
So the report is going to arrive on Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Right.
As a verbal report?
Written report. Do this, do this, do this, do this. I mean, last time he made us re-ground the electrical outlets in the garage.
Right.
That wasn't an issue this time, but he said, there's no exit sign. Why isn't there an exit sign on the door? And I said, well, everybody knows where the door is. We hadn't thought that was an issue. It wasn't an issue last time, but now we're going to Northwest to buy us an exit sign for the door. Fine.
I think many of
We
these
can make
things
fun
are
of
going
it,
to
but
be,
it's actually, it's a good thing.
many of these things are going to be relatively minor, but it's required.
Right,
It's still required, it's still good to have.
right.
But it's not as if they put red tape around the building and said, you
No,
can't go in.
There's nothing that we can't fix.
Right. So it's good
Right,
when they
and
come
there's some
around
policies
for our
and-
safety and
That we brought up to date.
for the employee safety.
So that's going on. Also, so anything else on that? I'll let you know what the final report is. Next is settlement, the bank's claim. There was a claim to our insurance company, which they had settled with Mr. Banks, who was a contractor that worked at the town garage. And so the insurance company settled his claim, so there's no longer a claim against the town or its insurance company. So that's off our agenda. Anything else on that? Appointment, Deputy Fire Marshal, Stan Macmillan. Did you get a copy of this? He requests that we appoint Tim Limbos, who is an officer in the Kent Fire Department, works as a paramedic. He's recently completed the class to become a certified fire marshal in the state of Connecticut. I'd like to have Tim appointed. So we can assist your town already. We have Mike Fitting from Lakeville who fills in when Stanley is not available. And I'd say we'd probably certainly call the fire marshal when anything big happens, but even for furnace malfunctions and stuff, Stan is great resource to have to help people if they have problems with their houses that the fire department gets called to. So Tim is Steve Heaney. We had appointed him in the past, but he is not. Stan said he has not responded to any of the calls, so he would like to have Tim take Steve's place. Steve has been active. He's been too busy doing his career firefighting down in Greenwich.
So this is a position that he can just hand pick, it's not something that he says, I need this guy, goes out, job help wanted at, or kind of
I don't
thing.
think too many people that are qualified to have the position. I think that would be a fairly
You
limited.
don't know if you don't ask.
Well, I think
And
also,
it sounds like you guys qualified, I just wanna know the process.
I think the process is that Stan is fire marshal for 4 or 5 towns in the area. He has good rapport with the fire departments. He knows who works with them, and I don't think there's many people that have completed a class to be a certified fire marshal. So,
So he does just get to say, I know this guy,
Right.
and he's got these qualifications, and so I recommend you appoint him.
right, yep, and it also, I mean, we have to trust that Stan, has to be somebody Stan can work with. I know a little bit about Mr. Limbos, and he's a very capable person.
He's does that position receive a regular paycheck, or is it only when you're out
Hourly.
on hourly, only when you're out on a call?
Hourly only when you're out on the call. We do have to train them every 3 years. They have 90 hours of training every 3 years.
And they get paid for that?
Yep, I am asking him to have, look at that, I'm asking him to, him appointed to this position in 4 or 5 towns that I cover, and the cost of education be split between the 4 or 5 towns.
So we pay.
So it's
them,
good also to
and
have.
It's a double, you pay for them and you pay for their
Right,
education.
and I'd say it costs off the top of my head about maybe $2,000 or $3,000 for the fire marshal every year. It's really good.
What's the hourly rate when he's working?
Don't know.
But it'd be in here when we pay them the next time.
Right.
Bills.
But it's quite reasonable for the amount of expertise he brings to the job. And it's good to get a younger resident of the area in the pipeline. So I would make a motion that we appoint Tim Limbos of Connecticut as Limbos as Deputy Fire Marshal for the town of Cornwall on the recommendation of Stanley Macmillan, Fire Marshal.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Just as a point of interest, Stan is also Fire Marshal for Sharon, Kent Falls Village, and Warren. Okay. Next is the Stewart House, known locally as Ben Gray's house. This was Stewart House is a farm mission school. There is about 70 pages of research done on the importance of this house and national, which has been nominated or sought for national landmark status. There's going to be a hearing if anybody wants to go on November 17th, 2015 at the Charles Sumner School Museum Archives, Washington, D.C. And I'm not going to that myself, but it does say that letters objecting to or supporting nominations may be sent to Paul Lothar, Chief of the National Register of Historic Places, also in National Park Service in Washington. So there's a lot of detail about this and the Foreign Mission School and how the house is largely intact from that time. And what I would like to do is write a letter just supporting the application. I think the Foreign Mission School is very interesting, still very relevant story of Cornwall's connection to the outside world. And if this designation in some way helps preserve that story, I would like permission of the board just to write a letter supporting this national landmark status. It doesn't require any funding by the town. And
This place, is it on the?
National Register. There's other places. Can't remember the one. We just had one. Brian just had one. Was that national or state? That was state.
Those were state, the barns were state.
Right, this is national, which is a little bigger deal.
Did Ben apply, or did they just
I
say,
think Ben
hey?
applied.
Okay.
I'll check with Ben to
Not
make sure he
really
wants it,
found
but
out.
pretty sure he does. Because you can get tax credits for fixing your house up.
Hmm.
It gets to be this.
So that doesn't say in here how it came about.
It's funny, when they have those things, some other people can apply for your house. If you think somebody else thinks you have an historic house, they can apply, and whether you think it's a good idea or not, the National Park Service can say, Richard, that's an important, nationally important house, and you can object, and they can still technically approve your house even if you don't want it.
Well, that's part of the point of it, so that the
It's
owner,
protected.
the owner, they protect the owner from himself.
Each owner of the private property has one vote on whether or not they want it to be.
So is there a motion to
Not sure. Don't you write a letter?
just write a letter of support of this with the approval of Mr. Gray?
So moved.
That's you're making the motion, so I'll second that, is that what you making the motion?
I'm making
Yeah.
the motion of what he said.
You made the motion, and I'll second it. Authorizing Gordon to write this.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any more public comment?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Gordon, we talked about the tree down at Calhoun all
Yes.
this summer. Is it gonna come down now that the leaves are off it?
Yes. We're waiting for Fred's lift to get fixed, but we have to get the lift fixed in order to do the Christmas or the holiday tree too, so the pressure's on that. So hopefully we'll get both of those done
Yeah.
ASAP.
I would suggest, because when I was pulling the vines out of that tree, there were some cut wires
Right, yeah,
in there, so.
yeah, we've already, Jim Laporta and Ray have already begun
Okay,
getting the tree lights organized.
okay. And I also, I would put my name forward for your working group on the septic in West Cornwall, because I think the working group should include someone, or some people who don't live in West Cornwall, but, you know, while we all hope that a lot of it will come with state grants, they'll certainly have an impact on Cornwall's budget, and I think the rest of the town should be represented in those discussions too. So I just submit my name for consideration.
I'd like to be on it too, if possible, because,
Well, you're in West Cornwall.
I know.
He's all over town. Okay,
And one other thing, I know this sounds really weird, but that siren in West Cornwall, that box, it's full of hornet's nests, and it's just a dead box, but it looks kind of very unsightly. And if you could make mention to somebody,
okay,
Where is it?
it's where the siren is in West Cornwall, you know, right on a telephone pole. It's been disconnected, but the doors are flipped open, and there's a whole bunch of hornet's nests in there.
They need to
Yeah.
live somewhere too.
Yeah, but
we'll
Okay.
relocate the box up the flat.
just take it down, it's not needed, it's not used anymore.
Okay,
Yeah.
any other public comments? Okay, then I make a motion to go into executive session. Talk about delinquent taxes, litigation,
That's
Um,